Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to our Facebook Live broadcast tonight. My name is Melanie Porter. I'm a web producer at Fox 13, and tonight I am joined by Fox 13 investigative reporter and producer Nate Carlisle. Nate, thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you, Melanie.
So today we have Nate to talk about his latest report that actually just ran on Fox 13 Live at 9:30. And if you have any questions for Nate about his report, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll be moderating and we'll get this going. So Nate, do you want to first talk about the nature of your report and how that process was for you?
Sure. I've been reporting a lot the last few months about workplace protections during the pandemic, in some cases lack thereof, and I've done a lot of reporting on the state occupational safety agency here in Utah, UOSH, and then the federal agency, OSHA, which has oversight over Utah and of course the other states as well, and what kind of protections they're offering workers right now, what kind of protections they're not offering workers in some cases. And this is a follow-up to a story we did back in November, where at that point, UOSH had not cited any Utah businesses for pandemic violations. Then later in November, Governor Herbert then put the mask mandate in place and gave UOSH the authority to enforce that within workplaces.
Great. So let's talk a little bit more about OSHA versus UOSH, because they can get a little bit confusing.
Yeah, that's right. So OSHA has a presence in all 50 states, of course, and as the federal occupational safety and health agency, it kind of sets the baseline. The states are allowed to have their own occupational safety and health agencies as long as they meet the minimum standards of OSHA. Now, the states can offer more protections than OSHA if they want to, but they have to meet that minimum. So in Utah, if you've got a workplace accident, say on the construction site, which is one of the more common ones, UOSH is going to be the agency to show up and investigate that. You move over to, say, Colorado, and it's going to be OSHA. Now, theoretically, it should work about the same way because, again, the states have to meet at least the minimum federal standards.
Great. Okay, so for new viewers that are jumping on, we are talking about Nate Carlisle's latest report. And if you have any questions for him, leave them in the comments. So I see one comment from Benjamin really quick that I'm just going to pull up here. So it says, so shouldn't you two be wearing a mask then? And just to let everybody know, we are both in our own homes. We're not in the studio or near anybody, so we're good.
Actually, that kind of gets to one of the, that's not such an uncommon question. The mask mandate is specific to businesses and then specific to if you're in proximity to others. So you and I are working in our homes right now, not around anyone else. We're not required to have the masks on.
Okay, so it's always good to address that before we get a bunch of those coming in. So let's talk a little bit about the fines that these businesses faced and why exactly they were fined.
Sure, the ones, well, they're all fined for having employees that weren't masked, or at least one employee that wasn't masked. And you saw the amounts vary. There's some factors on that. The size of the business is one factor. Typically, the smaller businesses, the less the fine is going to be. However, they can also consider how egregious the offense is. And you saw that, for example, we talked about one of the car dealerships had 5 employees that were not masked, whereas there was an auto parts store in Moab that only had 1 employee not masked. And so the car dealership paid a stiffer fine. That's just an easy example. But, for there again, for something like a big car dealership with lots all over the valley, paying $4,500 might not be that big a deal. Whereas, $750 for a little auto parts store in Moab can be a big deal. Or as we talked about the restaurant in the piece, paying $1,500. That's a big deal to it.
Yeah, especially during the pandemic when a lot of these businesses are already struggling, even small fines can seem like a really big deal. Okay, so how did UOSH find out about these businesses who the employees weren't wearing masks? Were they reported? Did they do, their own investigation?
UOSH, that more often pronounce it, but it's okay. I'm letting the audience know, not you. But it looks like in just about every case there was a complaint to UOSH, and I've gotten a list of these pandemic-related complaints before from the occupational safety agencies, and there's all kinds of things on there. Employees not wearing masks, employees not distancing, not enough PPE, stuff like that. But it's the mask mandate that UOSH has been enforcing. So they're mostly responding to complaints. It does look like there was one construction company that inspectors showed up for reasons more common to construction companies, scaffolding not secure, stuff like that. And they also noticed that some employees were not masked. So that particular construction company got cited for a couple construction safety deficiencies and got dinged for not having employees wearing masks.
Okay, I'm just kind of moderating. Hold on one second.
Sure. While you do that, if people out there, I'd love to hear from you. What are you seeing in your workplaces? Is everyone masked like they should be, and so some social distancing, or are you having frustrations where you work about people not taking the proper precautions?
Yeah, so a couple of questions about where the list is. It will be up on our website. Hold on one second.
It should be up any minute.
Yeah, I am in charge of putting it on the website and moderating Facebook Live, so I'm trying to do both.
You got two hands, don't you?
I know. Okay, it is up on the website right now, so just give it a couple of minutes and it'll upload and you can find it there. Okay, so let's see. Lots of people saying that Iron County, yeah.
They're probably complaining about the sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the sheriff. Yeah, we've heard some things about, the Iron County sheriff is among the law enforcement that says they're not enforcing the mask mandate. And there was, I have to look at the list. I don't think there was a business in Cedar City cited for not wearing masks. We talked about in the piece the hospital that was cited for a employee that didn't feel properly trained on a respirator, but that's a little different issue.
Yeah. Another one here. Walmart lets customers in with no mask. I asked a worker about it and she said they can't make customers wear them. Lots of different people saying that they've seen looser mask restrictions in some places. So
yeah, and look, I've had to travel to some rural parts of Utah a couple of times for work the last year or so, and yeah, just people are a little more lax in some of those places than you find, say, in Salt Lake County or Utah County. But the businesses can absolutely make the customers wear masks if they want to. I mean, we have, no shoes, no shirt, no service signs. You can have the no mask signs too. I mean, you just tell them, they could always tell the customer to get out if they wanted to. So I keep complaining to management, I guess, is the thing to do. Or I was going to bring this up. If you're a worker at some of these places, you can complain to UOSH that your bosses are letting customers in without masks, and eventually UOSH might have to take some action here. Well, maybe we should talk about this later. But Biden administration is looking at tightening up some of this, and it could have an impact on customers, not just workers.
So here's a question from Sarah Childs. She asks, what do you do if a customer walks in without one? Is that the owner's job to enforce?
Yes, actually. And this is kind of one of the cruel issues of the pandemic. We've turned businesses into cops. Again, it's pretty much up to the businesses to make people wear their masks. And again, the businesses are perfectly within their right to tell the customer to leave if they're not wearing a mask.
Okay, another question here from Dawn. She asks, are these employees standing within 6 feet of each other? If not, understandable. If they were distanced, why are there fines?
I'm not aware that the mandate talks about distancing. I think it talks about if you're not wearing a mask in a public place of business. That was one of the points actually that you heard in the piece that the co-owner of the Wingnuts restaurant made, that these particular employees weren't near customers, and that's not necessarily articulated in that rule that UWASH is enforcing.
Okay, I hope that answered your question, Dawn. If you have any other questions, just leave them in the comments for us, and we will try to get to as many of them as we can. Okay, so I guess we already talked about this actually, but for new people jumping on, okay, sorry, another one.
Sorry.
I like to put these comments up. Where's the list of businesses? I just published it on the website. If you go to fox13now.com and then you click on the Fox 13 Investigates tab, it will be right at the top. So you can find it there. And then Nate's full report that was aired tonight, the video report, will be up on the website shortly as well. So you get there. How many people jumping on? How many businesses are on this list, and where were they located around Utah?
There's 25 businesses on the list, 24 of which were for employees not wearing masks. The 25th was that issue at the hospital where the employee didn't feel properly trained on a respirator in a COVID-19 room. As for where they are in Utah, that's kind of interesting. There's actually kind of a couple hot spots you wouldn't expect. Like there was I think 3 businesses in Moab, which is kind of a lot when you're talking about what should be a statewide list of 25 businesses. There were 3 in Spanish Fork. And so, again, that's kind of a high number for that area. After that, of course, there's several Salt Lake County businesses that you'd expect. There's a couple in Utah County. There's a couple in St. George. Oddly enough, I didn't see anything north of North Salt Lake. So I don't know why that would be. Now, this is just the list since it's kind of been adjudicated since the end of January. We're now in mid-February, so there could be some more businesses on that list. And I'm sure it's going to grow. But for right now, the whole list kind of starts with North Salt Lake and works its way south.
So this is a question from Tyler. And he asks, do you feel UWASH has overstepped their boundaries? And instead of asking for your personal opinion, Nate, if you could also go into, how these businesses felt about UWASH, and when you talked to them, did they feel that they were, their business was being violated in some way?
Yeah. First, Tyler, I'll just state the legal facts of it, that UWASH is enforcing the rule it has been charged to enforce. If you're asking on a more philosophical basis, I'll let others make that decision. As for how the business owners feel, the few that talked to me didn't like this. They didn't like the process. They felt like, the inspector kind of just happened to catch them at a certain moment, that no one was being harmed by the failure to wear a mask at that particular time. Well, that's for two of the owners who did speak to me. One of the car dealerships did issue a statement that acknowledged that the employees basically they should have been wearing masks and that they've been retrained since then.
Great. So I like this question. Where is it? Here it is from Shannon. She asks, and I'm going to change the wording a little bit. Do people need to wear a mask when they go through a drive-through?
I don't think there's a specific rule on this in
don't
Utah. I would pay attention to if there's signage as you approach the drive-through. There may be signage asking you to put their masks on. I think that if you're in Salt Lake County, for example, we're supposed to be wearing masks when we're in public. I don't know how to interpret that if you're in your car with the car window down. For what it's worth, I try to wear a mask when I go through a drive-through.
I noticed a lot of drive-throughs also have like the plastic coverings on there, so it probably, wouldn't hurt, but everybody can have their own opinion on that. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay. Okay. So in the piece, you talked about how businesses can appeal these fines. What is that process for them? And are businesses wanting to take that route or just pay the fine?
I haven't found any business that claims to be appealing yet. Basically, I'll confess I don't know the entire appeal process, but just reading the citations, they've got 30 days if they want to file a notice of appeal, and there's an administrative process for that. But the Wingnuts fine is a good example. It's $1,500, and yes, that's a lot of money for them. The alternative is, fighting this for who knows how long. They wouldn't necessarily have to hire an attorney, but if they want a competent appeal, they might have to hire one. That costs a lot of money. And so is it, you kind of do this economic analysis, like I had, time or two when I thought about fighting a parking ticket or a speeding ticket. Do I want to invest this kind of time in trying to fight this, or is it better that I just go ahead and pay it? And at least in the restaurant's case, they decided to just go ahead and pay it.
Gotcha. So Nate, what was the most surprising thing that you learned from this investigation?
Honestly, I think the most surprising thing was just that this is being done now, almost a year into the pandemic. Some of these citations came down in December. So at that point, we were 10 months into the pandemic, depending on how you count it. Prior to Governor Herbert's mask mandate, UOSH was not citing anyone for pandemic violations because they were claiming that they didn't have that kind of federal direction. And at that point, neither Governor Herbert nor the Utah legislature had imposed any specific workplace requirements that OSHA was charged to enforce. And so when the governor announced this mask mandate, I was kind of skeptical about whether UOSH was really going to go out and enforce it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are completely unimpressed with 24 cases thus far in a state with 3 million people in it. But it is something. I think it puts other businesses on notice, at least, that hey, UOSH is actually doing this, and frankly, that's one of the reasons I wanted to put the story on too. Was I thought it would be fair to UOSH to point out that they are enforcing this, and I thought it was important that the public and other business owners know that this is really being enforced.
Definitely. Okay, I'm seeing some more comments about where we can find it is on the website. I just put it on the homepage, so it should pop up there in the next couple of minutes, but you can also go to the Fox 13 Investigates tab on our website, fox13now.com, and read the whole report.
I'll admit I'm kind of curious whether people are eager to see the list, just, because they want to see if their own workplace is on there or someplace they shop or a patron is on there, or if, they're looking for the same reason people look at, booking websites or something like that, jail booking websites. I mean, just see if there's just something they can gossip about.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I saw some comments saying they wanted to support these businesses, and there's lots of different reasons why. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon, I think. If you have any last questions for Nate, leave them in the comments so we can get to them. Nate, is there anything else that you want to add or say about the investigation and the report?
Well, I'll say again, we'd love to hear from workers about what they're seeing in their workplace. If your business replace employment is taking the pandemic and these precautions seriously, that's great. If they're not, I'd be willing to hear from you. Also, you can file a complaint with UOSH yourself. UOSH is encouraging workers at this time to file these complaints. Your complaint can be anonymous, and if there is retaliation after you file a complaint, that in itself is a violation of workplace standards, and that's something that's taken very seriously in the occupational safety and health. I want to say industry, but it's government. It's not quite an industry, but you know what I mean. The safety agencies take that seriously if there's retaliation.
Definitely. Okay, I am not seeing anything else in here. Just making sure we got everybody. Okay, so once again, one more time, you can find Nate's full report on fox13now.com. It will be on the homepage and under the Fox 13 Investigates tab on the website. Nate, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you to all of our viewers for also joining us for your great comments and questions. Yeah, is there anything else you want to say, Nate? I'll let you have the last word here.
Stay safe, everyone. Keep wearing your mask and take care of others. Melanie, great job. We'll have to get you on air more often.
Oh, you guys are funny. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Have a good rest of your night, and we will see you next time we do one of these.